The stage rolled in with a lie, sitting upright. Dust boiled off the road as the coach swung to a stop by the broken hitching rail. Cole Hart stood with his hat low and his boots planted like posts in hard ground. He had ordered a bride the honest way, papers signed, fare paid, a plan made. He did not need romance. He needed a partner who could work and keep a house from dying in the wind. The door opened. A woman stepped down, not the one from the tin type. Plain face, steady eyes, travel dress mended at the hem. She looked at Cole, then at the long, thirsty land behind him and spoke first. "I'm Lena Mallory," she said. "Not the sister you saw. If you'll hear me, I'll tell it plain." Silence hung like heat. A freckled clerk on the porch snorted. Two loafers near the water trough grinned at each other, already making a story. Cole looked once. The look was not pretty. It was the look a rancher gives a sky, a fence, a horse. Can it hold? Can it last? He felt the tight ache behind his ribs that came when a plan tilted. He also felt, like a small drink of cold water, the rightness of a voice that did not pretend. "Come to the ranch," he said. "We'll talk there." They rode in the wagon. The land lay dull with late summer. Grass was crisp and gray at the tips. The wind carried the faint sour smell of a dry creek. Lena sat straight. Her hands were nicked and clean. She did not chatter. She watched the lay of the fences, the shape of the corrals, the way the roof boards lifted at one corner. "My sister is Eliza," she said at last. "She likes crowds." She changed her mind. "I am the one who can do the work." "You're honest," Cole said. "Work keeps me that way." At the house, empty as a held breath, Lena set her valise by the door and waited. Cole opened the pantry and felt shame at its slack, dusty shelves. "Supper first," he said. "Then we set terms," Lena nodded. Terms, not promises. Outside, a hawk wheeled over the pasture. The day leaned toward evening. Talk would decide the rest, but choice had already started, quiet as a hand finding its tool. The road waited. They ate by lamplight at the bare kitchen table. The flame shook in a breathing draft from the poorly sealed window, and the shadow of the pot swung across the wall like a slow pendulum. Cole set out beans, half a loaf, and coffee. Lena washed her hands, tied her hair back with a plain ribbon, and took her seat without fuss. "This is the work," he said. "Mornings start before the light. We ride fence, check water, mend what the wind tore, and keep the herd pushing for feed. No hired cook, no housekeeper. I can pay fair wages and keep a clean ledger." Lena listened the way a person listens to the weather and the wind. "I can milk, bake, cure meat, cut kindling straight, and keep a pantry that does not lie. I can also ride. I can rope if I must, though not pretty. I read, write, and count. If something breaks, I try before I call for help." "The creek is running thin," Cole said. "We haul from the spring every third day to stretch the pasture tanks. I plan the week on Sundays. I don't drink in town. I don't like noise. I don't go to town for noise," Lena said. "I go if there is a reason." They ate in the simple quiet that grows when two people respect the food and the work behind it. After, Lena rose and put the dishes to soak. She opened the pantry, stood for a moment, and then faced him. "This shelf lies," she said. "It tells you there is flour when there is only dust. Tomorrow I will set it right." Cole felt that small, clean click inside, the one that meant a piece had found its spot. "I need plain truth," he said. "I won't court. I will partner if it fits." "Then we set a trial," Lena answered. "1 week. At the end we decide. No half words between." "A week," he said. "Work first, decide after." They both nodded like traders sealing a deal. Outside, boots rasped on the porch. Calboon, the young hand, tapped the door frame and poked his head in with a hopeful grin. "Evening, boss." "Evening, ma'am. Need me for anything?" "You can show Miss Mallory the water line in the morning," Cole said. "And it's Lena," she added. "Lena," Cal repeated, smile bright as flint on steel. "Understood." Dawn came cold and honest. Lena rose before the light and tied on her boots. She lit the stove, set water to boil, and laid out flour, salt, and lard. While the coffee dripped, she opened the pantry and stood still, like a surveyor taking the measure of land. She pulled every sack and tin to the table. She sifted flour and tossed the gray stale part. She found weevils in a corner bin and burned them in the stove. She wiped each shelf with a damp cloth, then dusted it dry. She made 3 careful rows: what was true, what was light, what was gone. She cut paper labels and wrote neatly, flour, beans, salt, coffee, soap, lamp oil. On a scrap of brown paper, she listed what to buy in town and what to trade with neighbors. Cal came in at first light, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Smells like a real kitchen," he said. He reached for a biscuit too soon and pulled his hand back, laughing. "Hot, sorry." "Breakfast in 5, Lena said. "Then show me the waterline." They ate quickly. Then the 3 of them walked the yard. Cole watched and kept quiet. Lena asked short, sharp questions. "How far to the spring? Which tank fails first? Where does the wind cut the roof?" She listened to the answers and moved on. At the tack shed, she stacked the coils of rope by use and length. She hung bridles in pairs so a man could grab fast in a storm. She set a bucket for broken straps, a bucket for scrap, and a place for tools that wandered. She found a hammer under a saddle and set it home. By noon, the house started to breathe. The windows were propped and the air moved. Bread cooled on a cloth. 2 shirts steamed on the line. Cole felt the day ease off his shoulders, the way a horse settles when it trusts a hand. Maud Crane rode in after dinner with a jar of pickled beets. She swung down, boots hitting dirt. "Heard you swapped dust for order," she said. Her eyes took in the list, the clean shelf, the rope wall. "Good, chaos wastes time. Time kills cattle." Lena smiled once, small. "I like clean lines." "Then you'll do," Maud said. Cole did not say much. He only looked once more and chose again inside himself. Saturday brought them to town for supplies and seed. The sun flashed on windows and the street smelled of dust and horse. Cole tied the team outside the general store. Lena stepped down with her list folded small in her hand. Inside, the bell rang. Conversation thinned. 2 women near the calico shelf glanced, then leaned close. A boy at the nail barrel stared with round eyes. Mr. Cutter, the storeman, came forward with his voice ready. "Afternoon, Mr. Hart." "Miss Mallory," Lena said. "Lena. We need seed oats, lamp chimneys, a sack of salt, and decent coffee. Not the bitter kind you sell to drifters." A slow grin tugged at Cal's mouth. He stood back, enjoying the show. Mr. Cutter's eyes flicked from Lena to Cole. "I was told Mr. Hart sent for a different sister. The pretty one." "Folks do talk." Lena did not flinch. There was a change. "I came to work." One of the women let out a small, pitying sigh. "Poor man," she said, not soft enough. Cole rested both hands on the counter. His voice stayed level. "We're here to buy, not to trade talk." Mr. Cutter lifted a bolt of blue ribbon like a flag. "The town is holding a harvest dance. A lady might want a bright bit, seeing as she is new." Lena's mouth twitched. "Bright bits don't keep books straight." She passed her list. "Seed first," Cutter hesitated. "Oats are dear this season. You could manage with less and put the savings toward pretties." He touched the ribbon again. Cole looked once at Lena's list. Weights, measures, the note about weevils, the lamp sizes. Her handwriting was clean as fence wire. He made his choice out loud. "Filler order," he said. "Full weight on the oats. 2 spare chimneys. Coffee from the good crate." Cutter slid the ribbon away. The women went silent. Cal coughed to hide laughter. While the clerk measured, Lena checked each scoop, steady and calm. She did not hurry. She did not apologize. She paid for a small tin of salve and a spool of strong thread. At the end, she bought 1 length of plain muslin. "For what?" the woman asked, unable to stop. "For curtains that open and close," Lena said. They left with the wagon heavy and the air around them light. On the boardwalk, Maud nodded once. "Line drawn," she said. "Good." Cal took Lena along the north fence at first light. The grass was silver with dew, and a thin band of cloud sat on the far hills. Cal talked easily as they rode side by side, keeping his colt calm. "You set that pantry like a general," he said. "Boss eats quietly, but I've seen him breathe easier. So did I. Lena checked the wire in the posts. She tested a staple with her knife and pushed it tight. Work is a kindness, she said. It keeps a house from turning mean. They found a gate sagging. Cal jumped down fast, ready to lift. Lena was already there, shouldering the weight while he reset the chain. He stared, then grinned like a boy. You're strong, he said. Stronger than you look. Most things worth a day are stronger than they look, she answered. By the spring, a hawk feather lay caught in a tuft of sage. Cal picked it up and held it out. For your hat, he said, a little shy. Matches your way. Straight and useful. Lena took it and tucked it in. Thank you, Cal. They watered the horses and rode back slowly. Cal told a short story about a calf born wrong that he had set right with twine and patience. Lena laughed once, the sound small. He stopped talking then, pleased with himself. It felt easy. Cole watched them from the yard as they came in. He saw Cal's open face, the feather in Lena's hat, the way Lena rode easy. A thought moved through him like a shadow over grass, quick and sure. He was not evaluating. He was already choosing. At dinner, Cal praised Lena's bread. Best I ever had, he said, not careful. He asked about her home, about the tools she liked, about the way she learned the backburn. Cole listened, hands quiet, feeling a tug in his chest he had not felt in years. After the meal, Lena stepped onto the porch. The sky was wide and turning rose. Cal thanked her again and went to the barn singing a few notes. Cole came to stand beside her. I meant it, he said, about a partner. I heard, she said. He looked once at the land, then at her. I keep my choices, she nodded. Then we'll see them through. Inside, the lamp caught and held steady in the glass. Heat built all morning, high and mean. By noon, the sky bruised purple at the edge of the world. Thunder rolled without rain. Then a white spear hit the far ridge. After the flash, a thread of smoke appeared. Thin at first, then thick and fast. Fire, Cal said. The wind swung hard from the west. The gray thread turned to a running wall, ripping through the grass toward the north pasture. Cole moved before the fear could speak. Lena was already at the tank, throwing down buckets and wetting sacks. Cal, fill and pass, she said. Cole, we burn a break along the road. I'll set the line. You fire behind me. Keep the wind at our backs. Cole looked once at her face. It was calm and fixed like stone. He grabbed the kerosene and a twist of rag. Maud rode in at a gallop, hair loose, eyes sharp. Where? She asked. South fence, Lena said. We draw a black scar before the red one gets here. Cal, open the lower gate. Push the herd into the coulee. Slow and steady, they moved. Buckets thumped hand to hand. Wet sacks slapped sparks. Cole lit a short line of grass. It curled, ate, and lay down, making bare dirt they could trust. Smoke stung their eyes and coated their teeth. The big fire came on with a sound like torn cloth. Lena walked the edge of their small flame, reading the wind. Wider, she called. 2 steps more. They widened it. The new fire reached their black line and starved. A heifer broke and ran for the wrong gap. Cal swung wide and hazed her back, laughing once from pure nerves. Easy, girl. The main front hit the brake and climbed, looking for feed, then fell to ash. One tongue licked at the corner of the hay shed. Maud shoved her wet sack against it, jaw tight. Not today, she said. They lost a fence line, 3 posts gone to coal, and a pile of old boards. They saved the herd cut in the house. The air trembled with heat and victory. The 4 of them stood black with soot, breathing smoke and relief. Cole wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. Your plan, he said. Our plan, Lena answered. Then I trust it, he said, and meant more than fire. Above them, the sky cleared to blue. Night fell softly after the fire, as if the land had sighed and meant it. The 4 of them ate on the porch with their sleeves rolled and their faces washed clean as they could manage. The taste of smoke stayed anyway, a bitter ghost at the edge of tongue and teeth. Cal stretched his long legs and leaned back against the rail. Thought we'd lose the hay, he said. Figured the whole ridge would glow. It did not, Maud said, because somebody kept her head. She tipped her chin at Lena. Most folks panic. Most plans fail there. Lena looked toward the black line that saved them. It cut the grass like writing. My father made us practice, she said. He said fear is a horse. If you hold the reins, it runs for you. If not, it drags you. Cole turned that over in his mind, slow and careful. Law's just a word without a backbone, he said at last. Same with plans. They were quiet, letting the air cool. A nighthawk skimmed the yard, and the far cattle shifted in the coulee with gentle sounds. Inside, the clock ticked like a patient animal. Cole set his coffee down. I lost a boy once, he said, voice even. My brother. Spring flood. We thought the water was friendly because it moved slowly. We were wrong. Since then, I looked twice at easy things. Lena nodded, small and sure. I lost a year, she answered. Sickness took Ma and left the house heavy. I worked and forgot to speak. When I did, folks heard rough instead of true. Cal had gone quiet now. He watched them both with new respect. Boss, he said, you make a call and you stand in it. She does too. Seems like the ground is stronger under all of us when you two plant your feet. Maud snorted, not unkind. Boy can read with his eyes open. Cole's mouth twitched. He looked at Lena, not long, but real. The week's trial stands, he said. But my mind has less distance to travel. Mine too, Lena said. They sat a while more, listening to the kind, working silence. Somewhere a coyote sang once and quit. The stars were sharp as needles over the cleaned horizon. They were not strangers anymore. Rest came honestly. In the yard, a new post waited, and tomorrow with it. The next afternoon, the mail wagon rattled up the lane with a tired mule and a tired man. He tipped his hat and handed Cole a small bundle tied with a string. One letter bore a soft, looping hand and a dab of perfume that did not belong to this land. Cole felt the old ache of plans shift. He carried the letter to the porch where Lena was shelling beans into a blue bowl. He set it on the table without a word. She looked at the handwriting once and color left her face. Eliza, she said. Read it, Cole said and sat. Lena broke the seal and read in a low voice. The words were sweet and light, as if nothing weighed them down. Eliza wrote of music in the hotel parlor, of gentlemen who admired her laugh, of a true connection with a man who understood her, nature. She wrote that the West would have broken her delicate spirit, and that sending Lena was a mistake made in fear. She offered to come and set it right, to save face for all, to bring grace and color to a life too plain. Lena folded the paper with care and set it in her lap. Her eyes did not water. They went distant like a person hearing a train go by and knowing it does not stop here. She means to visit, she said. She means to take back what she never wanted to carry. Cole watched her, the square set of her shoulders, the small tremble in one hand, and she tried to still. The smell of the letter sat on the porch like a stranger who did not know farm work. I don't own you, he said. I don't own your name, your hours, or your days. I won't hold you to a plan you did not sign. If you stay, it is because you say so, not because a letter pushed you one way or the other. Lena looked at him then, something raw and steady in her gaze. You want me to stay? Yes, he said. Not for show. For the work. For the truth. She let out a breath that seemed to have waited years. Work keeps a heart honest, she said. And mine wants to stay. Maud's horse creaked at the gate. She swung down, saw the letter, and sniffed. Paper can't milk a cow, she said. If the sister comes, let her see what saved this place. Facts speak. Lena tucked the letter away. Let the truth stand. The stagecoach returned on a bright, hard morning. Dust rose like a curtain and then fell. Eliza Mallory stepped down in a traveling dress the color of robin's eggs, hat pinned with silk flowers. She looked at the ranch the way one looks at a picture that needs a frame. Her smile was light and ready, the kind that asks for applause before work begins. Cole Hart, she said, offering a gloved hand as if the porch were a ballroom. I have come to mend a mistake. Cole did not take the glove. He tipped his hat. You are welcome as a guest, he said.
The work goes on. Lena stood in the doorway with her sleeves rolled.
Flour dusted her hands. She did not step back or forward. She simply met her sister's eyes. For a breath, they were girls again in a yard back east, one with a pail, one with a ribbon. Then the breath ended. "Hello, Eliza," Lena said. Eliza's smile flickered, then brightened. "Sister, you have done your best, I see. But you are not obliged to carry what was mine to carry. I am ready to take up my proper place." Maud Crane slid her reins around a post and came up the steps, boots loud. "Proper place is where you do the most good," she said. "That place can change." Eliza blinked, then turned the beam of her charm on Maud. "And you are—" "A neighbor," Maud said. With eyes, Cal came from the barn, wiping his hands. He nodded at Eliza, then at Lena, staying quiet. Eliza moved closer to Cole. "I am sure the weeks were serviceable. But a home needs color, music, and laughter. My sister is stout of heart, but she belongs to quieter corners." Cole looked once at the lane, the tanks, the mended roof. He spoke plainly. 3 weeks ago, the hay shed nearly burned. Lena set a backburn that saved my herd. She reset my tack shed so no one loses time in a storm. She keeps books that tell no lies. She knows where the wind cuts before it does. That is color to me. Eliza's mouth softened, then hardened. Men are grateful in crises. Gratitude fades. Results don't, Cole said. Lena wiped her hands on her apron. "We are deciding on work and truth," she said. "Not on show." Eliza looked from face to face and found no easy door. The wind lifted her silk flowers and let them fall. "Then show me this truth," she said. "I will see it for myself." They showed Eliza the truth in daylight. Cole walked her through the yard while Lena kept to the work. He pointed to the black scar where the backburn had held. He pointed to the stacked ropes, the paired bridles, the labeled shelves. He showed the ledger with neat lines and numbers that added cleanliness. Cal opened the tack door and shut it again just to feel how it did not stick anymore. Eliza tried to smile it all away. "Useful," she said, soft and airy. "But a home is more than buckets and sums. A home is made safe first," Cole said. "Then it can sing." Lena did not defend herself. She salted the butter, checked the tanks, and turned 2 shirts on the line so the wind would dry them evenly. When she passed the porch, Maud handed her a folded paper. "1 page of the history you wrote already," Maud said. It was a list of things saved: hours, posts, feed, fence, cattle. It was as simple as nails. Eliza read it and had no place to set her ribbon words. Toward dusk, Cole asked Lena to walk to the ridge. The light ran gold along the grass and laid a clean edge on the world. They stood where the land fell away to the north pasture, and the breath of evening came up cool. "I looked once," Cole said, voice steady. "I looked when the coach door opened. I heard you tell the truth with your first breath, and I chose. I have been choosing the same way each day since. I want you to stay, not by contract or pity, but by your word and mine." Lena watched the far cattle drift like dark coins. "I will not carry a half promise," she said. "If we do this, it is plain. Work, truth, and my name. No shadow over it. Plain," he said. "Your name, Lena Hart, if you'll have it." She let out a breath that felt like the last board set in a roof. "I will." They married small under the kitchen lamp. Maud and Cal stood witness. Cal's grin was bright and proud. Maud's eyes shone once, then steadied. After, they walked outside. Lena took Eliza's letter from her pocket. Cole struck a match. They held the edge to the flame and watched the paper curl, darken and lift like a weak moth, then fall to nothing. Morning after the small wedding came plain and bright. No music, no confetti, only work and a clean table. Lena tied her apron, then paused when Cole set a mug by her hand. He had warmed the cup on the stove so it would not steal heat from the coffee. It was a small thing, but it fit like a good tool. "We chose," he said. "We will keep choosing," she answered. The day moved steadily. Lena mixed bread and set a second loaf for Maud, who had given them her good jar of pickled beets. She mended a tear in Cole's shirt with thread that matched, not because anyone would see, but because hidden work holds a house together. She chalked a new week's plan on a board by the door, Water days, fence lines, bake days, wash days, ride days. Cole added cattle counts and tidy numbers. Cal came in, glanced at the board, and whistled, happy to know where his hands would go. At noon, they ate outside in the thin shade of the porch. Cal lifted his cup. To Lena Hart, he said, careful and kind. Boss made a fine pick. Lena met his eyes and thanked him. Cal set his cup down and found something to fix on the wagon wheel. He had liked her, and he still did. But now he let that liking turn useful. He checked the grease box and set a new cotter pin. Respect can change shape without breaking. In the afternoon, Maud rode up with a basket and one sentence. Storm sign on the far ridge, she said. Maybe nothing. Maybe an early stir. She meant dust, wind, habit-breaking weather. Lena wrote it on the board. Watch the sky. They walked the north fence again. Cole handed Lena staples without being asked. She passed him the hammer without looking. Their hands learned each other's reach, the way two workers do when they share a job. They spoke little. When they did, it was short and good. Strong post, he said. Dry topsoil, she said. Fix before failure, he added. Cheaper that way, she answered, at dusk. They stood by the tank and listened to the slow glug of water settling. Cole's voice was low. Marriage is a daily trade, he said. My labor for yours. My word for yours. Plain price, she said. Paid every day they went inside. The house, once empty as a held breath, now breathed easy. The lamp steady in the glass said the same. Sunday brought the town together in a white church that needed paint but had good bones. The bell sounded thin in the dry air. Cole and Lena walked inside side by side. He did not look around. He chose a bench close to the front because he always had. Lena set her hat with the hawk feather on the seat, folded her hands, and sat tall. Eyes found them. Mr. Cutter's wife whispered behind a glove. The two calico women from the store held still like cats watching. Cal slipped in late and took a place by the door, guard sure without being asked. Maud sat at the end of Cole and Lena's bench like a nailed brace. Pastor Reed spoke on steady labor. Faith without works is wind, he said, and wind can't hold a roof. Heads nodded. Cole felt the words fit the grain of his week. At the end, Reed asked for news. A farmer thanked neighbors for help with a birthing sow. A widow asked for help to cut her winter wood. Then Reed cleared his throat and smiled toward Cole. I hear tell a house was saved by right thinking and strong backs, he said. Might be good for the town to hear the how of it. Cole stood slow. He did not like to talk long. He told the bare facts, lightning, wind, backburn, buckets, sacks. Then he turned and set the truth on its feet. Lena Hart set the line, he said. We followed her plan. That is why you hear our bell today and not a cow's death cry. A hush followed. No doubt measure. Reed nodded once. Wisdom comes in many coats, he said. After on the grass, people came close in ones and twos. A rancher asked to see the way she pared bridles. A mother asked for the bread recipe that keeps the crust from going hard too fast. Lena answered each in simple words. She did not make herself small. She did not make herself large. She stood the size of her work. Mr. Cutter edged up, hat in his hands. I misjudged, he said, eyes on the ground. About pretties and such. Buyers learn, Lena said. Sellers too. He let out a breath and almost smiled. Coffee on the good crate always, he said. Cal brought the wagon around and tipped his hat to Lena like a ranger saluting a captain. Maud handed Lena a folded list for the widow's wood crew. We'll cut Tuesday, she said. You call the strokes. Lena met Cole's eyes. Public days tell the truth. This one had. The pressure came on a Tuesday with dust in the wind. A rider in a coat too clean for this country stepped down from a tall bay and handed Cole a folded paper. He did not look at the house. He looked at the land like it was a ledger. Mr. Pike, Cole said. Flat. Bank, the man answered as if the word were a badge. Note comes due 1st of next month. Drought counts, but numbers still count more. Deliver payment or 20 head by the Thursday train a week ahead. Or the bank takes claim on your north pasture as pledged. He tipped his hat to no one and rode off, leaving the paper like a small, mean flag. Cole stood a long beat, jaw tight. Lena read the paper twice slowly. "How many calves can we spare and still winter the herd?" she asked. 20 will sting, Cole said. "But we can do it if we call right and if the market holds." Cal came from the barn, face set. "We can push a small drive to the depot by Wednesday night," he said. "If we fix the river crossing." "Crossing's cut deep," Maud said, riding in as if she had heard trouble from 2 miles away. "You'll need a brush mat and posts. 2 teams, 1 to haul, 1 to shore." Lena took chalk to the board by the door. She wrote clean, count herd. Sort 20. Brand check. Fix chute gate. Patch river crossing. Water schedule doubled till the drive. She looked up. "We move like a clock. No waste." Cole nodded. "I'll call buyers," he said. Pike mentioned Ephraim Beckett sniffing around the note. "He'd love a cheap pasture. We don't give him one." They walked the herd at dusk, talking in short lines. "That brindle steer can go. Keep the red heifer. She breeds calm. Fix the tag on the dun." Respect for animals and math together made the choices. Back at the yard, they checked the chute. A hinge complained. Cal filed it smooth and oiled it till it swung clean. Lena cut lengths of rope and stacked them by the gate. She boiled tar for the post ends so the river would not eat them quickly. Cole sat at the table with his clean ledger and made the columns speak true. When night fell, the list on the board had more checks than blanks. The wind ran its hand over the eaves. The house did not flinch. "Clock is set," Lena said. "Then we keep time," Cole answered. They started before sunrise, moving like a crew that trusted the plan. Cole and Cal hauled posts and brush to the river bend. Lena and Maud walked the bank, boots sliding where water had pulled back and left the edges weak. The crossing had cut into a sharp lip. Cattle would balk and pile if it stayed that way. "We build a mat," Lena said. "Brush tight, post through, rope cinched. Lay it where the lip breaks, then pack with gravel." Cal set the first post and grinned. "You call it, we swing." They worked in measured strokes. Cal drove posts. Cole fed brush into the frame and stomped it flat. Lena knotted ropes with fast hands. Maud watched the river and the gusts that spoke of dust. "Wind's telling stories," she said. "We listen and move faster." By mid-morning the mat held, a woven floor for hooves to trust. They led 2 quiet steers across to test. The animals stepped, sniffed, and went through. The mat dipped and then steadied. Cole felt some tightness in his chest and let go. Back at the yard, Lena boiled coffee and sliced bread. They ate standing up, eyes on the list. Each task had a time. After the break, they ran the herd through the sorting pen. Dust lifted and settled. Cal swung a gate smooth as a dance step. Cole called numbers. Lena checked brands and made a cut of 20 that would fetch enough without breaking the season. "Keep the dun," she said. "She throws calm calves." "Right," Cole said and moved her back. By afternoon, they had the draft herd penned, watered, and salted. Maud rode the north line and returned with news. "Pike went by Beckett's place," she said. 2 crows on one fence mean a carcass or a scheme. Likely both. "Then we do not stumble," Lena said. "We leave at dawn. Cal rides point. I'll ride drag. Cole keeps the money book and talks at the depot. Maud, hold the home roof and watch our back trail." Maud nodded once. "Bring them in sound." Evening fell. They coiled ropes, checked cinches, and laid their bedrolls by the corral, close to the animals they would ask for miles tomorrow. Work set a quiet around them that felt like armor. "All of them are ready." "Sun up, we move," Cole said. "And we do not waste steps," Lena answered. They pushed the draft herd out at first gray light. Cal rode point with his hat low. Cole kept to the flank where trouble liked to start. Lena took drag steady, holding the slow and the stubborn so the line did not break. Dawn was clean. All of them are alert. The cattle moved like a brown river with mines in it. Hooves thudded in a dull even drum. Dust began early dry, lifting off the ground and hanging in the cool air. By the time the sun cleared the hills, everyone wore a pale coat of it. Easy. Cal called, voice smooth as a song without words. He read the leaders and curved them toward the wagon road. At each bend, he looked back for Lena. She raised 2 fingers when she wanted less pressure, 1 when she wanted more. Cole watched both and matched his moves to theirs. They reached the river before noon. The mat held as if it had grown there. The first cow stepped, snorted once, and crossed. The rest followed in a patient file. Cal whooped a short note from pure joy when the last hoof climbed the bank. Wind shifted after the crossing. A high, thin line of dust drew itself across the far sky. Maud had called it right storm sign. It would not be full, not yet, but it would test a herd and a crew. Keep them stretched, Cole said. No tight bunching. They lengthened the drive. Lena dropped farther back to catch any balkers before their fear could spread. She spoke to the slow ones like they were old friends at a gate. Her voice was simple and low. The animals heard it and believed. 2 riders showed up near a stand of cottonwoods too clean for the trail. They sat in the shade and watched with crossed arms. When Cole slid closer, one lifted a hand like neighbor talk. "Morning," the man said. "Foreman for Ephraim Beckett. Heard you might be moving prime beef. It might ease your load to sell 10 head off the road. Cash in hand." "No," Cole said. "Price is sweet," the man pressed. "Our note is sweeter paid in town," Cole answered. The men watched a while longer, and then turned away. Cal spat dust. "Coyotes," he said. "Eyes front," Lena said. "Road keeps giving if we keep taking it." They pushed on, steady together. The wind rose like a hand sweeping the plain, slow at first, then hard. Dust lifted and ran level with their eyes. The herd felt it and bunched. A low moan moved through the cattle like a rumor. "Stretch them," Cole called. Cal swung wide at the point and eased the lead into a long arc. Lena dropped farther back, coat over her mouth, eyes slitted against grit. She spoke to the drug, soft and steady. "Walk on, old girl. Keep the space. Breathe and move." The wind punched again. Dust turned the sun to a dull coin. A young steer spooked at a tumble of sage and kicked his fear forward. The line tightened too fast. "Mill them before they bolt," Lena said, already moving. She rode hard to the tail and then up the side, waving her slicker high so it snapped like a flag. Cole took the far flank and mirrored her. Cal cut the leaders in a slow, patient circle. The brown river learned a new path, round and round, burning its fear into motion without breaking. "Easy," Cal sang. "Easy now." Grit ground between teeth. Eyes watered. The dust storm pressed and then wavered, as storms do when they find a crew that will not lie down. The cattle circled, slowed, and settled into a heavy, stubborn walk. 2 riders slipped out of the murk near a cottonwood draw, the same clean coats from the morning. One whooped sharply at the edge of the herd to spark a run. The other slashed at a tail with his quirt. "No," Cole said low. He put himself between the riders and the cattle with a quiet final line in the sand. "Drive on." "This road buys trouble," the nearer man said. "Then it pays in cash," Lena answered. She guided her horse close and lifted the slicker again, big and bright. The rider's mount shied and he hauled back on the reins. Cal came up on the other side, smile gone. "Trail ain't yours," he said. "Find another shade tree." For a long breath, dust hid everything but voices and the shapes of choices. The men weighed their odds, then turned their mounts and slid away into the pale brown world. The wind eased. The herd stretched back into a line. Cole touched the brim of his hat toward Lena and Cal. No speech, only thanks. They reached the depot yard at dusk, tired and whole. Lanterns already hung from the platform poles. Ephraim Beckett stood near the scale house in a fine coat, hands clean. Mr. Pike from the bank waited beside him with a folded smile. "Evening," Pike said. "Let's tally." Lantern light swung over the depot yard, making long shadows of men and cattle. The scale beam creaked. A stock agent with a pencil behind his ear called out weights while a boy chalked numbers on a board. Cole kept his face still. Cal eased the draft herd into the pens, quiet and neat. Lena stood with the ledger open, pencil ready. Beckett smiled like a cat. "Hard miles for such small stock," he said. "Storm shrinks beef." I'll take them light and save you trouble. The scale speaks, Lena said. We will listen to it. Pike unfolded his paper as if it were a flag. Banknote calls for payment by next week. Early delivery means early peace. Of course there is a handling fee for late-day weighing. There is not, Lena answered calmly. She tapped the printed line in his own words. Standard fee only for Sunday work. It is Tuesday. People drifted closer. The telegraph man, 2 freight hands, a rancher waiting his turn. Public opinion made lies expensive. The agent read the first total. 1,140. He looked to Cole. Mark it, Cole said. Beckett clicked his tongue. Market is soft. I'll offer $10 under the board price per head. Cash now. The telegraph man snorted. Board price posted at noon out of Cheyenne, he said. I sent it myself. Soft my foot, Lena did not raise her voice. Board price less freight and yardage stands. We will sell at the fair or we will stand until the next train. Beckett's smile thinned. Stubborn is costly. Not as costly as being skinned, Maud said, stepping from the dim like a post set in concrete. She had ridden in without a sound. You'll not cheapen this crew's work under a town lamp. More weights, more chalk. The numbers made a simple truth row by row. When the last hoof left the scale, the agent added and nodded. Total due at posted prices here. He tapped the book and named the figure. Cole looked at Lena. She met Pike's eyes. Count it out, she said, and write paid in full on the North Pasture pledge. Then sign and date. Pike hesitated. The yard watched. He wrote slowly, each word heavy. Cole took the paper and read it. Lena copied the receipt line into the ledger and drew a neat check beside the debt. Beckett tried one more smile. You'll need seed money come spring. We earn seed by work, Cole said. Not by owing you, the train bell rang. Steam hissed. The draft herd loaded, steady and sound. Cole folded the bank paper and handed it to Lena. She slid it into the ledger like a nail set home. Home, she said. The world changed in small, clear ways that anyone with eyes could see. The North Pasture paper lay in the ledger marked paid, and the weight of it lifted off the house like a heavy coat set on a hook. Cole set 2 new posts where the fire had eaten, and the line ran straight again. Cal planned a splintered rail smooth so no hand would catch. Lena tied plain curtains across the kitchen window. They opened in the morning and closed at dusk, and the room knew its hours. A light rain came one night, not much, but honest. It tapped the roof like careful fingers, then moved on. By noon, a thin green hinted along the low ground where water liked to linger. Cal rode out and came back with a grin wide as morning. Grass is thinking, he said. Maud stopped by with a sack of seed potatoes and a story about a nephew who needed work. Good back, little pride, she said. You can teach him the rest. Lena wrote the boy's name on the board for next week. Work grows when you share it. On Tuesday, they cut the widow's wood. Lena called the strokes like a drummer, steady and true. Cal stacked each round with the heart side down, the way his father had taught him. Cole sharpened Maud's old axe and left the edge better than he found it. The widow watched with her hands folded tight over her apron and then let them fall, loose at last. Feels like a town again, she said. In the yard back home, Cole built a small pen for sick calves. Lena hung a lantern hook outside the barn door where fingers could find it in the dark. She set a box of clean rags and a clay jar of salve on a shelf at hand height. Tools go where work lives, she said. Cole nodded and moved the water dipper to the same wall so a man would not cross the yard dripping. Evenings were quiet in a sweet way. They ate on the porch and watched the sky change. Cal told shorter stories and listened more. Cole warmed Lena's coffee cup before pouring without thinking about it. Lena checked the latch on the door and found it secure every night. The wind still spoke, but it no longer sounded like a threat. It sounded like a neighbor passing by. By late month, the ranch showed quite a profit. The new posts on the north line stood plumb. The gate that used to sag now shut with a clean click. Grass along the creek lifted a shade deeper, enough to promise. Cal said the land had a voice again. He was learning its words. Lena rose before light and found that the house met her halfway. The stove drew easily. The pantry told the truth. The chalkboard by the door held more checks than tasks. Cole shaved with warm water because she had set the kettle near the edge where it heated faster. Small things saved a life from fray. The town shifted too. Mr. Cutter kept the good coffee within reach. The widow's woodpile sat taller than her worry. Pastor Reed stopped them in the lane and thanked Lena for the bread recipe that held crust through a hard day. Two girls from the store carried a basket to the schoolhouse and waved like neighbors. They spent an afternoon restringing the wire where the fire had raced. Cole held the post hole digger and spelled Lena when the clay came up in hard cakes. Cal tamped with rhythm, and the wire sang when it found the right pull. Maud tied rags at the corners for cattle sight. Straight lines save hours, she said. Hours save lives. At supper, they ate beans with onion and a cut of beef from the drive pay. Cole warmed Lena's cup and filled it. He looked like a man who had come in from a long, dry walk and found water that would not run out. I keep thinking of the day of the fire, he said, plain. Your plan kept the herd. That kept the note. That kept this place. I am grateful not only for what you do, but for how you stand. Lena met his eyes. The room held steady around them. I stand because you do too, she said. A house is two hands on the same rope. The night air smelled of clean dust and far rain. Cal played a soft tune on a mouth harp by the step, simple, low. Maud noted seed numbers and told them when to plant by the moon. Choice edged closer without hurry like dawn. It would not need speeches when it came. It would need the same things as always. Work, truth, and a name that stayed. Autumn came easily, like a hand smoothing a wrinkled shirt. Rain did not pour, but it visited enough to show goodwill. The creek found its voice again, small at first, then sure. A green seam stitched across the low pasture where the backburn had held. Calves nosed it like a promise. Cole and Lena walked the ridge in the evening. The light turned the grass to brass and set a long shine on the tanks. Wind tugged at their coats and then went soft. They looked over the same land as the day the letter burned, only now it felt held. I keep the ledger paid, Cole said. Calm. I keep the fences straight. I keep my word. That is the vow I can make and keep. Lena stood with her hands quiet at her sides. I keep the house honest, she said. I keep the water moving. I keep the truth near. That is my vow. They did not join hands like a show. They stood shoulder to shoulder, the way partners do when they face a long field. Down below, Cal rode a lazy circle, checking a new gate. Maud's horse grazed by the lane while she counted seed rows. You were right that first hour, Cole said. Terms, not promises. But somewhere in the work, the terms turned into a life. Lena's mouth warmed. Work is love with its sleeves rolled, she said. Love is work that stays when the wind rises. He nodded. Then we will keep staying. The vow did not ask for music. It asked for steady hands and clear mornings, and mercy when days ran hard. A hawk slid and hung in the air, using its wings. The cattle drifted, tails flicking in peace. The house wore plain curtains and a thin thread of smoke, steady and straight. No parade, no ribbon, only proof. They started down the ridge together. At the yard gate, Cole touched the new post. Lena checked the latch by habit and found it true. They looked at each other. No more words. Some stories end with a shout. This one settled into the land it earned. Folks later said a plain woman came west in another's place, told the truth, and turned a ranch with her hands. They said a steady man looked once, chose, and kept choosing. The green came back. That is the legend, and it is true. Thanks for riding with us today. If this story moved you, tap like so more folks find it. Subscribe for more clean Western romances and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Tell me in the comments, which moment proved Lena and Cole were meant to partner? See you on the next trail.